Welcome, everyone, to the Game Vault Podcast. I am your host, Tom Schuster. Joining me tonight is Mark Myers.
Hello, everyone.
Tonight, we will be discussing game console pricing and its effect on the hobby as a whole, and we'll be reviewing our Retro Roulette game, Pokémon Silver, for the Game Boy Color. But before we get to that, we're going to go through what we've been playing. And we're going to start with me, because Mark has played a lot more than I have. So,
Yeah. Even if it's not game amount, it's length of amount of game.
Well, yeah,
you'll understand what I mean when we get to mine.
Well, I'm sure you've beaten a game since the last episode.
Yeah.
I have not. Well, that's a lie. But it's not nearly as big as beating the game you beat. So, I guess to start, I finished the Rally DLC for Forza Horizon 5.
Nice.
So I was getting myself in the mood for Forza Horizon 6. And since it's coming down the pike, I figured maybe I'll actually beat a DLC for once. Because I feel like I have not completed a DLC in a Forza game in a long time.
Yeah,
I'll just lose interest like a third of the way through. Like, all right, I've done enough of Hot Wheels on Forza. The one I did complete was the Lego one, because I'm a nerd and Lego was speaking to me. But yeah, I did that. I completed that. I did all the roads. I unlocked the whole map. So I did a little bit of a completionist thing, because I always like to complete the roads, even though that's like the dumbest thing, like the dumbest means nothing thing on that. I think when I got that achievement, it said like 0.8% of players got that achievement. It was one of those really rare achievements that pop up. It gives you that special pop up that you get every now and then. But yeah, that tells you how many people actually went through beating that.
Yeah, I don't think I've completed a DLC since maybe Mass Effect 2.
I couldn't even tell you. Like, I've purchased DLCs and not even loaded them up. Like, I purchased the DLC for Final Fantasy 16 and I have not touched it.
Same.
I bought both of them.
Just remembered I have it.
I haven't played either of them, so I need to do that at some point. But yeah, besides like Forza, I couldn't tell you a DLC that I actually loaded up and finished. Like, I think I have like the Game of the Year edition for Fallout 4. Never touched any of it. I beat the game and I was like, all right, I'm done. I just never went back to it. But yeah, so did that. Played some more Final Fantasy 9. I have now completed all of the stuff I need to before going to disc 4. Nice. I just need to go to disc 4 now. I don't know what's holding me up from doing it. It's just one of those mental, like ADHD mental blocks. Like, I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. So one of these nights I need to like force myself to do that. So that's kind of stalled. Expedition 33 is kind of stalled. I got to the what's it called? Village. The where everybody's a paintbrush. What the hell were they called?
The Gestrels?
The Gestrels. I got to the Gestrels. I got through the Gestral area, and I'm supposed to be going to the next event. Just one of those things. Didn't do it. Didn't go further yet. Need to do that as well. And the last thing I've been doing, so Mark had sent us a joke in a group text about like, why are all the like retro handhelds called like 17 different names? So I just received.
They're like the weed strains of electronic products.
They really are, because I received the AYN Odin Portal 2 base edition.
Yeah. Do you have the Thor as well, or just the Odin?
I don't have the Thor. So that, real quick, before I'm going to go off on a little tangent here.
Go ahead.
The Thor has gotten so much media attention. I don't know why. I don't know what, like, all of a sudden somebody picked it up and it's just been everywhere. Like, places I wouldn't normally see, like the Android retro handheld stuff. It's just, I feel like it's been all over like every media outlet for gaming. And I don't know why. I don't know what's different about this one. I guess because it's dual screen, maybe. But
like you said, I only truly know about that one because, like you mentioned, the media coverage. I've seen it on the multiple gaming websites I follow have mentioned the Thor.
Right. And I don't know what's different about this one, because it's not much different than other stuff. I mean, the fact that it has two screens, I think, is maybe it, and it's a clamshell design. But other than that, it's not it's no different than an Odin 2 or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I guess just price point and the fact that it has 2 screens, you can do 3DS emulation, DS emulation,
I
pretty
think some
well.
people have figured out on the Thor that you can use the screens for anything.
Oh yeah, you can absolutely play a game and like watch a video at the same time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, because somebody I saw some videos of people putting movies on the top screen while they're playing on the bottom screen.
something else people have done is like load up a game fac or a walkthrough and have it
That's pretty
up
good.
at the same time as an RPG, which I thought was a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I half thought about that for a second, but I was like, you know what? I'd rather have the gigantic screen. So the thing about the Odin 2 Portal is that it has a 7-inch OLED screen. And
Mhm.
I have the original Odin, which is I think a 6-inch LCD screen, but this is 7-inch OLED, 120 hertz, and it is one of the best looking screens I've ever seen on like a handheld device. I was blown away. I was like, all right, well, this is clearly the only thing I'm ever touching. I don't know why I have all this 10 other handhelds now. 'Cause
Yeah. The thing with handhelds is I always feel like I would be into them, but then I have my Switch that I haven't touched outside of the Florida trip,
yeah.
sitting right there, and I'm just like, maybe I'm just not a handheld guy as much as I
So
would, want to be, but it's just, I don't know why. I just never think of it. And I guess it's also because whenever I go anywhere where you would like, I don't fly, I'm
yeah.
usually the driver.
Yeah, me too.
So so it's like I don't even have that option. That's why the Florida thing was great and I got through, we'll speak about it on my part, 10 hours of a game. But yeah, I guess like I don't want to put the money out for these things as cool as they probably would be to me because I spent $300 on a Switch that I may have played a handful of times in 2 years since Tears of the Kingdom.
So here's where I will agree with you and tell you why I think this is different. I was the same way. I was like, I've never pulled the Switch off the dock. And that in lie it where is that is where the problem is that the Switch is dockable. These things you can dock. There it's a pain in the ass though to do. So it lives by itself in a case and you just pick it up and play it. Once I because I've always been dabbling with these things here and there. But once I got the Lenovo Legion Go PC handheld,
Yeah.
it was like a whole new world. Like I don't have to go sit at a desk to play my PC games. And that kind of like reinvigorated my want to play stuff handheld, which I didn't think I had because I'd never pulled the Switch off the dock. But the fact that you can dock the Switch is what makes me not want to play it handheld, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I completely understand what you're saying.
I feel like if it's just a handheld device, you would feel different.
Yeah.
That's just especially if like so now, like especially with the Thor and the Odin 2 and Odin 3, you can emulate PC games now. So you don't even need a Steam Deck anymore. Like these can play games that a Steam Deck can basically handle at this point. It
Yeah, and
basically
probably
so there go ahead.
I was gonna say, probably most of the games I would want to play handheld would work. Like I don't need to worry about graphics and stuff like
Right.
that, and
Yeah,
frame
like
rate.
if you were playing like Hades
Yeah,
on one of these things, you probably wouldn't even notice.
yeah, and Civ and stuff like.
Right. And it basically it's more of what's the word I'm looking for? A translation layer than
Yeah,
emulation. So it's just translating from PC to Android. And I've seen a lot of people use it for that. And you can also use it as a streaming device, so you can stream from your PC to the device. And
yeah,
if you're like in the same I mean, you're not that far from your PC, so
yeah,
it would probably work pretty well.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. My Steam thing works.
yeah, like Steam Link, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the thing I bought for $5 when they were trying to get rid of them.
I still have one and I don't use the damn thing. I absolutely should, but I just don't. I don't
I'm
know.
upset I missed the controller. Like they were
Yeah,
all sold out by the time.
I
Yeah,
didn't get the controller either. I think I have like an Xbox 360 wireless
yeah. I have my
adapter.
I have one of my N-bit dos
Yeah.
or 8-bit dos.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's a great device too. Either way though, I think now like I said, I think once I got the handheld PC it changed to me because it was easy to pick up and play. It was cloud saves, so I didn't have to worry about being at my desk to do this. And boy, am I glad I got that because as we'll talk about, things have gotten a bit more expensive.
Just a little.
So, I'm glad I got it when I did. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Mark, I will let you get to what you've been playing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll start off the segment by going, I'm going to have a transition thing that's not a game that I did today that we would discuss at the end, just to
Okay.
let you know. So,
Okay.
first off with games, I'll just start off by the things that if you're, a viewer of of our streams on Twitch, you've known. I think since we've last spoken, I have beaten Mega Man 5.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And about halfway through 6. Probably will be 3/4 of the way through it by the time you listen to this podcast. And
R- Real
yeah,
quick,
yeah.
did you think that 6 was way easier than 5?
They're both easier than 4. I haven't thought to compare the 5 and 6 yet. I'll think about that next when I'm, you'll hear it on stream and wondering why it sounds like a conversation had already happened.
I just felt like you had way less of a problem with the robot master.
Oh yeah, the robot masters were easier. I'll say that. But the stages, like 5 and 6 stages were much easier than definitely 4's. 4 was a slog to get through. I didn't like 4 at all. I think in terms of, and I don't think there's anything 6 can do to get it in, but the first 3 are just different games than 4, 5 and 6 in terms of quality and like the gameplay system, like everything. Can't really think of the exact word I'm looking for, but 1, 2, and 3 are just their own thing and fantastic.
I wanna
Um,
I wanna say that the Super Nintendo had come out by the time 4 came out,
yeah, it
or
feels like
right
this was
after
like
4.
it feels like 4, 5, and 6 were like Team 2, and that Team 1 had moved on to X.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It very much feels like that because the first 3 games are challenging and fun and interesting, and then 4 is just hard for hard's sake at points. The fact that there is a boss that its only weakness is a thing that you need to collect, like you can miss, is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that sucks.
I don't mind if there was like a secondary weakness, like most of the robot masters have, where it's not as good, but it's sort of good. But the fact that you have to beat those 2 of those final 4 bosses with the blaster if you don't have the special weapon is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And yeah, but 6, like I said, 5 and 6 it just felt like breezy. Outside of, some times where it's like, all right, the pattern is simple for the robot master. I just have to learn it, And once I learn it, it'll be good. And then once I did, I was able to get. But yeah, I'm loving 6 so far. Fun to finish it. We have a poll up over on they called this a movies Discord. If you want to join their Patreon, for what I'm going to play next, it kind of looks like I'm going to play the top 50 Super Nintendo games, as shown by Nintendo Life. And again, no RPGs, no fighting games, and no sports games that have seasons. So and and probably not Super Punch Out. I'm probably not going to do Punch Out. If that's even in the top 50, I don't even. You would think, but yeah.
Oh, it has
So
to be.
yeah, so I'm going through, finishing up this and be done all the NES Mega Mans, and check those off the box. And I've also just on Saturday, you guys would have seen, or Friday, you guys would have seen this by now. I think I'm in the end game for Trails in the Sky second chapter. Got to what definitely feels like the final dungeon. Today, which is a whole bunch of story today. I didn't do much in terms of combat. Today meaning they recorded it. So I got to do those voice acting chops, and that game is so fun. To just I jump back into. They do a really good job with it. I like the fact that it is one continuous story that didn't have some kind of break in it, and I think that helps it
Yeah.
out a lot. And yeah, so I can't wait to finish it next week. I'll probably have more things to say, or in the next 2 weeks, I'll probably have more things to say then. Yeah, and then the quick roundup, I played a lot more of NCAA 26. I think I'm gonna play that all the way until 27 comes out. I'm just having so much fun with it. A lot of the back end stuff that 25 didn't have, this has, it just keeping me engaged. And a funny story that I think I told on streams, and I talked to Tom about this. At one point during all of this, I just sat around. I was like, you know what? English soccer season's coming to an end. The team I root for could possibly win the league and a couple other trophies. I was like, let me see. I'll buy FIFA 26 if it's on sale. And then I opened up my PlayStation, and one of the first ads on the screen said FC 26, $20. And I'm like, yes, purchase. And so I started playing that. I had this discussion, I think with Jonathan or on one of the, it might have been on a news hour, that the weirdest thing about this, the soccer, is the level I play at, I am way too good for, but the next level, I can't score. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I run into that too. Yeah.
yeah. And it's
Absolutely.
like, I was like, in every other sport, like hockey, I can go up to the higher levels and compete and win, but it's just not fun. It's way too much simulation when you get to the higher levels in the hockey games. And same with the football, where you have to know how to read defenses and audible and change do all that stuff
Mhm.
to succeed at the higher levels. And that's not what I'm coming to a video game for. But soccer's it's like it's not even the highest level. And then I searched online, and it seems to be a big problem with going all the way back in the FIFA games.
It's
Is that the
not
difference?
just you.
Not just me. The difference between professional, which is the mid level, and World Cup, which is the level above mid, is like everybody's like, are there sliders I can adjust? Like, is there something? And then there's options for you can go to World Cup and dumb them down, or you can make the professional people better, like Reddit. And then some people just said get good
Yep.
in there because there's Reddit. But yeah, and then I was explaining like the thing, and I love having conversations about difficulty levels in sports games too. And then I mentioned too about NCAA, where I'm not going to go up to the next level because it'll, just become annoying more than anything. But I've gotten so good at fine tuning the players I recruit and the way I like level them up, because it is basically an RPG. The way I level them up to fit the way I play, that I'm virtually unbeatable. Because the way I play defense, all these guys are like 95 and above in that particular thing they need to do.
Mhm.
And I get sacks and interceptions because everybody is is God's gift of football, playing his own defense on my and then on offense, everybody's fast and can run sick routes, and nobody can cover them. So,
Are
and
you
then
are you running a 4-3 or are you a 3-4 guy?
no, I run a 4-3, but I play a lot of cover 3, cover 2, cover 4. A lot of zone. A lot of Tampa 2s and stuff like that. And now that the people that don't watch sports have tuned out, um there. But yeah, I play a lot of zone. And just because it's a man coverage, I feel in games can get kind of cheap and cheat towards the computer at times. This is the breakdown you get from playing 200 hours of a football. Um, but yeah, and then I was talking to Jonathan about this, and he was like, "Yeah, I run into the same thing with like racing games. You get so good at fine tuning your car that you can't really lose
Yeah,
most times.
100%.
Because you've played the game so much that you know how to exactly tune the car to win every race. And it just comes down to, did you tune the car correctly more than your skill as a driver? Yeah, so that's what I've been going through with the sports games. But the big thing I played this week, I might have left out other things I played, like minor, but the big thing I want to get to, so we don't make this podcast run too long. I started and beat Resident Evil Requiem in the between the podcast. I do want to point out, I don't want to go deep into it, but I started Final Fantasy 1 while on my trip to Florida, the Pixel Remaster version. Got 10 hours in. I want to talk more about that when I beat it on this podcast. So we'll just put a pin in it, as they say.
Okay.
The only thing I want to mention is I don't know if the Pixel Remasters are easier or I am just more experienced with JRP. Maybe a little of both, but
Ye
the game hasn't been too difficult so far.
Let's say probably a little of both.
Yeah. So anyway, Resident Evil is a big thing I want to talk about. This might be my favorite Resident Evil game since 4, and maybe even 4 remake. I haven't gotten through all of 4 remake, but it's essentially the same game. It's better than 7 and 8, because of a lot of the Resident Evil parts. 7 and 8 feel like good action horror games. This feels like a Resident Evil game. And it's not just because they do a lot of the survival horror stuff where like limited bullets and stuff, with one character.
Yeah.
It's just that in general, the story feels more in that realm, and has Umbrella stuff, and all the history of the Raccoon City things and stuff like that. And it's just, I'm trying to be limited spoilers here because I want to do a spoiler cast with Dan once he finishes it, which might be the end of the year for all we know. And I'm not saying that's not anything bad about Dan. It's just we
No,
have
it's just
we have
that's
different
the way.
schedules, like you
That's
understand.
yes. You
I
only get so many hours to to play
Yeah.
the game.
I do not have that responsibility, so I'm able to spend an entire Saturday finishing Resident Evil Requiem. But yeah, so the major things I want to talk about, and feel free to lodge any questions you might have about it. I think the voice actress that plays Grace should be nominated for an award at the end of the year. She is ridiculously good at this.
Now, is Grace the lead character, or is she a
Yeah, Grace. Well, Grace and
or is she
Leon
a
are co-leads. They're
co-lead? Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, she gets a large chunk of the game, and then Leon gets a large chunk of the game, and then they do a back and forth at the end. Kind of a little bit like if they would have
Like
done Route A and Route B in Resident Evil 2, but they were in the same game,
mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
sort of thing. And you didn't play through one half, and for those of you who played Resident Evil 2 as Tom did, you would see both stories in one. That's one of the good things. Where there are two scenes in particular in Grace's part that I haven't seen better acting in a Resident Evil. Not that Resident Evil has great acting to begin with, but really like got me emotionally in it. And everybody's complaining about the stuttering she does and things like that, but I think it comes across very well as being a inexperienced nervous person, essentially. And yeah, she shouldn't have been thrown into the job she gets thrown into at the beginning of this game. And it hasn't been revealed yet, but I think the real villain is her boss that sends her on this mission. You've seen it in the trailers, so that's not a spoiler. But he's the real villain of this game.
Capitalism.
Well, I'm going to send you back to the hotel where your mother was murdered because I think you need to get over it, Grace.
Yeah, because that's the healthy thing to do.
So she's fantastic. I think the best parts about the game is that as helpless as you feel as Grace, you feel like a friggin' 80s action hero with Leon. And
Which is the way you should feel.
yes, he doesn't give a shit anymore. He's seen everything, so nothing phases him. He doesn't get scared at any point. They give him all the weapons, and I mean all the weapons. That literally the mechanic is you have to sell weapons because you can't keep them all. And he doesn't have a storage box. Minor spoiler. But yeah, they give him so many weapons that you literally have to sell them to keep it. But yeah, his parts feel fantastic. Has some great action scenes with him, multiple ones, and then the ending is a little too cutesy is probably the wrong word, but
On the nose?
yeah, they do a thing where they wrap up too much, and didn't need to, sort of thing.
Mhm.
But it was still great nonetheless. It's one of the best Resident Evil stories in a while. I wasn't a huge fan of the either winter stuff, but maybe it's because I grew up with the Umbrella, corporate, government intrigue and all that stuff that comes with it. And it's just fantastic. It'll be in my top 5 unless if, like I said, 5 better games come out. I know that's kind of obvious to say, but it's like I don't think there are going to be 5 better games this year than this
Well,
game.
you've got at least one. Like,
Yeah.
we'll see about the rest.
Yeah, I
'Cause
mean, I'm not
you
gonna.
you tend to find stuff randomly at the end of the year that
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get the 5. Like I said, that's why I said it's definitely going to be in my top 5. We can. I wouldn't commit to top 3 or top 2. This isn't a Expedition 33 situation
yeah.
where I finished that game in March or April or whatever it was, and I just literally said that I'm like, this is my game of the year. Like it would have to be blown away by something. And as good as Death Stranding 2 was, it didn't even come close to knocking that out. But yeah, this one is definitely it's worth a play if you love Resident Evil games. Tom, even jokingly, I would not recommend this. There is way too much gore for you in this one.
I
Literally,
appreciate the heads up, but yeah,
literally,
after 2, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to play
there
another
is
Resident
literally a
Evil.
weapon in this game that you punch into the back of zombies and they just explode into.
Yay!
So yeah, you wouldn't enjoy this too much, but the character work is great in there. I think it's a lot better than I was thinking it was going to be going in, and maybe that's why I'm hyping it up a little more because I had lower expectations for it, but I had a blast playing it. I'm probably going to try and get as close to the platinum as possible. I want to play through it a couple more times before the end of the year. Maybe I'll do a run on stream for Extra
That'd
Life
be
or
cool.
something. Get through it a second or third time. I just want to do a run with infinite ammo on the hardest level, and just have like infinite rocket launcher ammo. I don't even know if you can do that. I didn't look to see if that has to be possible.
I would
But
imagine
yeah,
it's
yeah,
possible.
yeah. There was a lot of a lot of callbacks to a lot of things in this game, and that's part of the reason why I loved it. And finally, the
Awesome.
last thing is the. Did you have something you want to
Nope.
ask
Go
about
ahead.
Resident Evil? Okay. And finally, the thing that's sort of a mid ground between this and our news topics, or topic. This morning, as of this recording on Friday, I went and saw the 8 a.m. showing of the Super Mario Brothers Galaxy movie.
Oh,
And as I said over on the Discord that I mentioned before, it's fine, like 6 out of 10, like
yeah.
fine.
I've been seeing sixes, fives, and
Yeah,
sixes out of
like they kind of turn Fox into a himbo a little bit. I guess you could perceive that from his character. His introduction might be the best part of the movie for me. It's so good. I'm not even going to spoil it for anybody that'll possibly see it, but it will pop up on YouTube at some point, and just got to watch it. It's real. It's the tone of what the rest of the movie should have been writing wise. That is the big problem with the movie. Is I'm not asking for it to be award winning, Pixar, going to win an Oscar or anything like that, writing. But they just seem to, they like get almost there with making good jokes and then they don't cross the finish line. Or they get almost there with an emotional moment and then they don't cross it. They back out because it'll be like maybe too much for kids to think about or something, or they worry it is, which Pixar does the opposite. So most of the movie has that. It's just a bundle of scenes with a lot of, which is why I want to transition off the fan service from Resident Evil. That's just a lot of fan service and reference throughout it.
well,
Um,
oh,
yeah,
they got to throw stuff in for the adults, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah, and
they,
even
it's a kids movie.
they travel. They literally, and I'm not going to spoil specifics, but I think they touch every single Mario game from 2 through Odyssey
Wow,
in terms of
that's
references.
that's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. And then that doesn't count the references to of Star Fox stuff. And the problem is they named this a Super Mario Galaxy movie, but Galaxy's just a part of it and not even a big part of it.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the problem. Like if they would have called it Super Mario World and did what they did, fine. I can,
I am
separate that.
confused as to why they went straight to Galaxy. You've got all of that stuff to work with, and you're kind of pigeonholing yourself
Well, part of
into
me,
like
yeah, go ahead.
whatever comes out next.
Yeah, so part of me that after seeing that and seeing the movie, I don't think they care about the naming. But part of me
Not
is the reason
surprising.
yeah, the part of me why I think they did it was cuz I think they want to introduce space just so they could find a way to introduce other Nintendo properties.
Oh, so
Like you
this is the beginning of Super Smash Brothers the movie.
movie, yeah, because you can bring in a Star Fox. People claim that that Samus's ship is in the movie. I didn't see it, but people claim it's there. And by introducing space and all that, you can bring in other characters. Like I'm not
Mhm.
going to mention all the references here, just so not to spoil them. But there are some that I was a little surprised that show up, and they're all like Nintendo developed ones. So you're not going to see like famous Capcom stuff and things like
Yeah.
and Konami and all that. But yeah, it's not even like there are certain fun parts, but it doesn't have as many fun parts as the first one. Like I said, they like introduce Yoshi and then he's just in the background. Um, it
I,
yeah. Go ahead.
have they shown Yoshi talking in the trailer at all? I haven't. Well,
I don't know, but
I guess. Well, I'm trying. I don't want to spoil anything, but does Yoshi just talk, or does he just say Yoshi?
I'm gonna spoil that for you because it's pretty obvious. He just says Yoshi.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Because I've
he
seen
makes
the joke
noises.
about Donald Glover saying that he deserves an Oscar for this,
Yeah,
and I didn't know if he just said Yoshi or not.
yeah.
I was
So,
curious.
and not that there's many major plot points to spoil, but his introduction is probably the best joke with Mario in it in the whole movie.
Mm.
Like they do his introduction, like they find him, and and then they ask, "How'd you get here?" Sort of thing, and then it goes into how he got there, like through a montage thing, and then it cuts back to Mario and Luigi, and they go, "Well, I guess we'll never know," because he can't talk, you
Because
know
he's just saying Yoshi over and
Sushi.
over again.
Yeah. And making noises. Yeah. But it's probably the best joke with Mario in it in the whole movie. Because it's so perfectly timed for it. I think the major issue, and not to get too deep into like, because again it's a kids movie for kids. They don't do enough to make Mario and Luigi interesting in the movies. In
Okay.
the movie. You know,
They're just
like
guys.
yeah, yeah. Like I'm more like they do more to make Star Fox interesting, which is probably because they're going to make a Star Fox movie next. And to be 100% honest, I think the Star Fox story is more made for a movie than Mario was at any point.
Yeah.
Uh, so, and they have probably the best joke in the movie in his introduction. I know I keep saying it, but it's really good. If you do want to know, I will tell you off air, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody that might not. But yeah, so I think they're going next to a Star Fox movie, and then probably might do. They're definitely going towards a Smash Brothers movie at some
Well, yeah. I
point.
mean that that seemed pretty obvious from when they just started
Yeah,
introducing characters already, like
yeah,
Donkey Kong and
yeah.
stuff. So
And the usage of the Super Mario 2 characters in it because they spoiled that they were in it. Is pretty well done, and they have just enough screen time.
so
Um,
I guess is Birdo a guy?
they don't say. The way they're introduced is a pretty cool introduction. And yeah, but yeah, they don't talk much in terms of Birdo. Wart does all the talking.
Yeah.
When you get Luis Guzman,
Yeah,
you let him talk.
yeah, absolutely.
So, but it was good references in there, and what they do that is pretty good. But like I said, it's enough of them in the movie. Like
Yeah,
if they don't overstay their welcome. But it also sets them up to be in anything in the future.
which is
The way
what
they
they
have
need.
them set up. But yeah, 6 out of 10. I made the joke that the entire movie is just about family, so obviously I loved it. Um,
Obviously.
so yeah, but I joke, but that is truly it. That is what the whole movie is about. Because Bowser Jr. is trying to reconnect with his dad, and then the princesses have something that I'm not going to spoil that changes canon. And Mario and Luigi, obviously. But yeah, if your kid likes Mario, or you have a kid between like 6 and 10, and they have seen Smash Brothers or played it or play something, it's a fine movie to go out and have a night out as a family. Don't look it
There
to
you go.
be like Inside Out or
Well, yeah, it's not a Pixar movie. That's okay. They don't all have to be.
yeah, and that's about it. That was my. I got up early on my day off
To
to go
do
watch
that.
this.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, that's a ringing endorsement. But yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, and to get into what we're going to talk about, I mean, who knows how much they spent on this damn movie, but as you've probably seen in the the crappy world we live in, everything's getting more expensive. And Sony, in all their wisdom, just announced that they're going to be raising prices on their consoles again, with the PS5 Pro coming in at an eye-watering $900.
Yep, $900 as of yesterday.
I say, as if you're listening to this, this has already happened. So
Yeah.
if you didn't get one of these consoles and you wanted one, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
And it has brought up a lot of conversation on how video games are not a like a budget hobby anymore.
No.
It's a rich man's hobby. It's become over the past 3 years, probably, I'd
Yeah.
say, since all the supply chain issues with the lockdowns and everything in 2020. Things were okay for a little while there in 2021 and 2022, but I think with AI starting to eat up uh all of the RAM and all of the flash memory that is available, you're now getting these crazy fluctuations in prices. And it's not looking good for video games.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mark, I don't know where you want to start with this.
Yeah.
I know.
So I don't want to start on the most doomer of doomer thoughts, but I want to posit the question to you, Tom.
Yes. Yes.
Are we seeing the beginnings of a video game crash?
If it's not already happening, yes, I think we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
Because
just for
what
the
few
mere
people yeah,
Go
what
ahead.
few people remember, and I'll let you jump in, is that most consumers didn't really notice a difference too much, when the first crash happened, because they were like, "Oh, wow, all these cheap games," during that 3-year period between when it crashed and Nintendo came out. But it's just like a very similar, thing where, it's just in this case, it might be worse because it's a lot more money and
Well,
there's a lot more jobs being lost.
it's also a lot more visible, right?
Yeah,
Like in the 80s, you didn't see all of the stuff that's happening because it
yeah,
wasn't on the news, you know?
yeah,
It was just, oh, video games are going away because it was new. It was still new.
yeah. It was like,
So
"Oh, this
video
fad is
games
done."
it was a fad at that time. So it wasn't like daily life with video games. Now, video games are a billion-dollar industry, and it's getting more and more expensive to have this hobby. And I feel like Xbox. So when Xbox did it first, Xbox raised their prices first, and I think that was kind of the death knell for the Xbox to begin with, because
Yeah,
the Xbox was kind of just like head above water, treading
yeah,
water, trying to stay afloat. And once they raised their prices, that was it. No one was buying an Xbox anymore. And now that Sony is raising their prices, I don't know if the Xbox becomes the budget choice. I mean, I don't even,
yeah,
because I think the Xbox Series X is still close enough to the PS5 Pro that it would give you like almost all of the performance, but you're not getting the Sony exclusives anymore because Sony
yeah,
decided, oh, we're not doing multi-platform anymore. We're just doing PS5 or whatever.
yeah. And that's a short-sighted thing as well because like uh one of their most popular games right now is like selling more on was it Marathon is selling more on PC than it is on PS5.
Yeah,
Um and yeah, I think it's a whole combination of things. That's just making this going to start being like PC gaming was early on where to have good rigs that ran a lot of stuff, it was very expensive.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
and I think that's how consoles are going to start going, like non Nintendo.
I think the
Because
Switch 2 becomes your value proposition. The Switch 2
yeah,
at $400 is the value, e
yeah,
because they're going to be releasing games for it. It's not like the old days where they wouldn't release games for the Wii U because it sucked.
yeah,
So I think if you are tight-ish on money and you want to play video games, the Switch 2 is gonna become
yeah,
even more popular than it already is because it's
yeah.
gonna get multi-platform game.
And the major problem, and you mentioned this when you were handheld, the Odin earlier. The problem with the crash that we're talking about and all that is that honestly, it's going to affect the big companies, obviously, in Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, in terms of not being able to do the thing they usually do, latent console lives, which is lower it to get more people in the door, to hopefully make them first adopters for the next console, because of all the supply chain and cost of things because of dumbass AI going around.
That's a whole other rant.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just reason that this is all happening is everything's going to come down because uh people were too stupid and bought snake oil from AI executives. And we're going to find out health issues from AI server farms, and environmental issues, and it's a whole thing that's this is just a very small piece of it. And the thing is that consumers aren't going to feel it as much in terms of if they just want to play video games. Like
Yeah,
if they don't want to play, if they need to play like the newest thing, or need to be
if they're
fed new stuff, then
the
that's going to
early
get hurt.
adopters, early
Yeah.
adopters.
Yeah, people like that are going to get hurt. But like people like us and most of the video games, you give them, you figure out a way to give them a console that they can play games from the last 35 years on. People can play games. I mean, the kids love Roblox, and Roblox looks no better than an early PS1 game
Yeah,
at times. So they're going to find ways to play games. But it's just going to be the top of the line, the stuff that was getting close to being in the same conversation as movies, in the AAA space in terms of narrative and drama. That stuff's just going to go by the wayside, at least until for somehow prices come down on the component parts and all that, and they can start lowering console prices. And it's just going to be such a boutique hobby. Game prices are going to go up. Nintendo's trying that whole thing where they're going to sneak prices up by making digital things less expensive, but then the digital is just going to be what the normal price was.
yeah,
And just things like that. It's just a big clusterfuck with gesturing at everything going on in the world. And everything's connected. Like things keep floating into my head of things that are connected to what we're talking about. Like gas prices. It's going to cost more to fuel the trucks that deliver the parts to the warehouses. And then, if those places run off gas generators or oil, God forbid, generators, then it's going to cost more to run those. And then just everything, like we said,
yep,
the supply chain, like everything that's going on in this world is going to affect the hobby here. And my advice would be, if you're into just playing games, I would get hopefully you have a midline PC, kind of like what I have. And you can play a lot of the good indie games that come out, because they'll still come out no matter what happens to the big guys. You have a good enough PC to do that, or invest a couple $100 in like the handheld stuff that Tom's talking about, to
yeah.
play games on.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's what I was going to bring up.
yeah.
My
I'll lead
so
you
I-
into that. Yeah,
my observation and my prediction here is that emulation will become big again, bigger than it already is. Just because it's cheap, it's still video games, and people aren't going to want to pay exorbitant prices. So you will end up with things like Retroid Pocket and AYN Thors and things like that cost $200 bucks, like you were saying, 200, $300, and you can still play any game that's ever been created up to 2005, 2006, maybe even a little
yeah,
later.
roughly. Yeah,
Sometimes some of these things are starting to do Xbox 3 or Xbox emulation, PS3 emulation. So once you start getting up there, you start to see less of a need for the new thing, unless you are a person who needs to play the newest games all the
yeah,
time, which I get. I totally get that. I've been that person. But even stuff like the Mister Project, or just regular emulation on a PC, like if you have a PC that's within the past 10 to 15 years, it can probably emulate mostly anything you can think of. Just get an office PC that they threw out, or get it off eBay for $200. Those things will exist. They will be more popular. Now, that being said, I think that Valve was on the right path with this Steam machine that was coming out. It's still coming out. I don't want to sound like it's not coming, but it's going to cost a lot more than they originally thought because of RAM shortages and all this other crap. RAM shortages, flash memory storages, and because it's going to have an SSD. But by the way, I want to just mention something real quick. I've been looking at like SD cards pricing. I had an SD card sitting in like my Amazon cart. It was $66 for a 512 gigabyte S, uh, SD card, which in itself is already too expensive. 2 days ago, I looked. It's $133 for a 512 gigabyte micro SD card. That's like
It's,
asinine. Like
that's insane.
who's paying that much for a 512? These things were $20 6 months ago. What I don't understand how this is what makes me hate AI more than I already do. Like this should not happen. It's ridiculous. But yeah, so things are going to get more expensive for a while. Hopefully the AI bubble pops within the year and this stuff all goes back to that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is AI doesn't go anywhere and it takes forever for things to start coming down in price because they're eating up all the chips. That could take 2 years.
Yeah.
We
I think
won't we're not going to see another console in at least 3, I'm thinking, at this point.
I think the Helix thing is coming out next year because Microsoft's an insane company.
Right, but
They're going to
that's
put it out
I
at $1,100.
it'll be it's a PC.
Yeah.
The Helix is so my another prediction here is the Helix is going to be a competitor to the Steam machine.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
prediction is that
Yeah.
it's going to be the same it's going to be a competitor to that once
Yeah,
that comes
we
out.
won't see anything from what's it called from Sony for a while.
No, especially since they have the PS5 Pro. Like Xbox did not do the mid cycle upgrade like they usually do.
Yeah.
I think the Helix will be their next console, and that's it. I don't think they're going to do anything. They're definitely gonna lean more towards PC because they're building their Xbox experience for PC.
Yeah.
Which will have the ability to play Steam games, GOG games, and everything else, and still be an Xbox. They've
Yeah.
already found that they're. I would imagine they're already working on the translation layer between Xbox games and a PC, or there's
Yeah.
not that big of a difference at this point.
Yeah,
This
but
is.
they have to.
I'm totally coming out of left field. I have no idea if that's the case. I'm
Yeah.
not a programmer.
Yeah, it is truly going to come down to with the Helix is it going to be the Xbox changing its way to allow PC games to play on the thing, or is Steam and Epic going to have to create things for their games to work on an Xbox? If you know what I'm saying there.
Mhm.
I think that's going to be the big thing with the Helix. If it's the Xbox molding itself to work with Steam and Epic, then that's a game changer, and it'll probably be $1,100 like Steam.
Right, but at
uh,
that point, it's just a PC at that point
yeah,
in your living room. That's all
yeah,
it is. It's a living room.
yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to. I think that's what the bet is of the new CEO is to lean more towards being a PC that's under your TV than trying to make the old console.
Because it'll be
Yeah,
back to Sony and Nintendo, and that's it.
yeah, because
And because
I
they'll,
think
I was gonna say they'll both have their exclusives, and then your Xbox will play whatever it's not
yeah,
exclusive.
and I think at this point they're making their bet that prices are going to stay high, so we might as well give the consumers as much access to games as possible.
Yeah, I mean
And
I mean, to be fair with Xbox, they've tried. They've tried to give
oh yeah,
consumers as much as they could, but they've the last couple of years they've just screwed things up royally with having to raising the rates of Game Pass so high, kind of screwed them. They should not have done that.
yeah, I
I
wouldn't be
mean, maybe
surprised if they start. I think didn't they make like a middle ground? They just introduced a new middle ground
it's
between
possible, but
premium and ultimate.
I still have I'm on the lowest tier. I went from ultimate to the lowest tier
Yeah,
because I did not want to pay because it just didn't make sense for me. The amount I was going to have to pay, it's almost like a new console every year, and I don't want to do that. I don't play that many, especially at this point in my life. I don't play that many games that having Game Pass made sense. But
yeah,
that's another topic for another day. But
yeah.
I do want to mention real quick with going off the Steam machine. So I had a PC laying around my house, which if you know me, that's not unusual or uncommon.
Yeah,
That is relatively new. It's not the latest platform. It's an AM4 platform, but I said, you know what? This is not sitting here not doing anything. I might as well try Linux on it. I might as well try to build my own Steam machine because it's not coming out. I have all the parts. Stuff's just sitting around, not doing anything. I want to give it a shot. So I have amassed the parts to make my own Steam machine, and I will be building it hopefully either this weekend or through the week or next weekend, hopefully. And I want to report back and see what that experience is like. Because if it's good, this could be the new thing. Like you buy a cheap office PC, you throw a GPU in it, and you put Bazite on it, and that's your console.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going, like I said, it's where this is going to be felt the most is at the big company. I think most consumers that aren't like, and I'm not using casual in a bad sense, but like that aren't like casual consumers, won't feel like they don't have games to play. And even there's a group of in the casual that just plays Fortnite, and Epic can keep having Fortnite be on phones and computers. Like those people are not going to
Yeah,
feel any of this. It's going to be those of us like us that have had every console, since they've had money, like their own money to spend.
yep.
Even if they should have stupidly not done that, and use that money elsewhere. I can think of many things I could have used the $300 I spent on my Switch for, that would have gotten more use than my Switch. But we're the ones that are going to notice it and feel it a little bit because we always look for the next new thing.
I mean, you could arguably say we already are because you and I
Yeah.
both like said, no, we're not buying a PS5 Pro.
No. Yeah.
I have no interest.
Yeah. I felt no
Which is
need to do it with PS4 too.
the only
You know.
reason, and the only reason I had a PS4 Pro is because that was when I went to buy a PS4. I didn't have a PS4 yet, so I just bought the
Yeah.
PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
And that was the only
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah. It's my, I want to say education or whatever. Like, look at this as I'm more curious to see how it plays out for those that have their money in it. Like, will this pop? Like, will the AI bubble pop and then everybody come back to their senses with things and realize, and it goes back to being the game industry that we had, say, even probably pre-pandemic, because it's just kind of insane now. And that's this. We didn't even touch on the layoffs and all that are happening, because of these situations and issues and the crash that we're probably in. And it's just a mess out there, and it makes it harder and harder to, you know, endorse the hobby, as these things are going on.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, like I said, it makes it harder to endorse the new stuff, which is the beauty of retro gaming. Is that you can still enjoy games
yeah,
and you don't have to spend a ton of money. You can still buy a Mr. Project at granted, it'll cost the same as like a console. It'll cost like depending on what you do, because you can get cheaper versions now. But if you buy like the full blown kit, you can spend upwards of $300. But you only have to spend that once. And then you can play every game from I mean, there's so many cores in the Mr. Project at this point that it's makes your head spin. I mean, you could play everything from a 486 DOS PC to a Super Nintendo to a PlayStation 1, the 3DO they're working on a core. Every arcade game known to man pretty much at this point. They've released the fact that they're going to one of the guys is working on CPS3 hardware, which people thought was impossible. People thought the
yeah,
N64 was impossible, but that's all on there now. So I as much doom and gloom in the like the new video game world is in the old video game world, it's pretty good right now, and I can't really complain.
yeah.
But yeah, I know
That's about
like
it.
Mark, you have one, so I would be interested to hear your thoughts on like what I guess really first of all, this all comes down to what happens with GTA 6.
Oh yeah,
Does G does
100%.
G does GTA 6 revive the gaming community, the gaming like does it pull gaming out of the red?
This,
I don't know if it can.
yeah, this the raising of prices and all that. feels very much like investors, which is another big fucking problem, saying, "Hey, you said GTA was going to just sell consoles like crazy. Why don't we raise the price $150 and get more money out of them?" It smells like that,
Yeah.
you know. On
I
top of
I agree.
on top of the cost going up, they're going, "Well, we don't have to take as much of a loss. We'll raise the prices and then all these people will buy the console for GTA 6, you know." So,
Yep. That's also the other thing. Like people could finally start to buy PS5s, but the install base for the PS4 is still more than the PS5. So
the
that tells you right there that people are still not buying new stuff because it costs too
and
much.
if I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna look it up right now. I believe GTA 6 is only coming out for console at first.
Yes. I believe that's correct.
Yes, I just looked it up. So that's the big bet that I bet a lot of the Sony investors are making with this is going ours with the Pro is going to be the best place to play GTA 6. It's going to look the best, it's going to run the best, and we're going to be the place to go for
And
this.
that's Sony. Did Sony announce did they announce GTA 6 on
I don't
um
know.
one of their streams? I can't
It,
remember if
it feels like it
it
was
had
that
to
or a
be, right?
Summer Games Fest or something.
Yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
Yeah,
it seems like it's something like that.
yeah, but that's what they're and that's why this house of cards that all this is built on right now because of inflated prices because of AI is hinging on people buying the console at the more expensive price for this game and not just buying the cheaper quote unquote console. Like they want everybody to buy the $900 console for this.
Right. I mean, this will not come out for anything besides, well, did they say Switch 2? I don't remember. I think
No,
they
no, it's
did,
just
but
PS5 and Xbox.
it's just PS5 and Xbox.
Mhm.
So there you go. You're gonna have two options at launch, and I guarantee you this is gonna run like dog shit on a base PS5. They'll just figure out a way to make it run like shit, and it'll I'm sure it'll be oh, you have to buy a PS5 for it to look any good. It's gonna be the same thing that happened with Cyberpunk. Where you had to have
A
an
PC.
Xbox Series X or a PC in order to make it
Mhm.
look and run halfway decent.
Yeah.
That's we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
That's in November. So we got a whole year of this bullshit, rest of the year of this bullshit before that comes out. And even if that they don't delay it at that point either.
Yeah.
But
Well, right. They could possibly delay this again
yeah.
and screw everybody that has like moved their launch to not
Yeah.
not coincide with this.
And there's the not low percent chance that GTA 5 comes out at like $90 base.
If that happens, I'm never buying a video game.
Like it's not a high percent chance, but there's an above non-zero percent chance that that game could just be like it's very much going to be the break point. We're either going to go
Right.
to where everything's very fucking expensive, $90, $100 games, $1,000 consoles, or it's the thing that breaks everything, and then over time we switch back to more reasonable.
Right. This will be the hinge pin moment for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what else to say besides that it's a waiting game at this point. But to that end, you can go out and buy, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it now because you can't buy an SD card without it being ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
But dip your toe in emulation, see how you like it. Look up the 100 best games of all time and play some.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's what Mark's doing. And to that end, that's what we do on this podcast. I started this show because I had or have a wall of games that need to get played. And I think that anybody who wants to do that can do it. And that's the
Mhm.
beauty of the 30 plus years of video games that we've had. And I think that's a good spot to end this
Yeah.
discussion, and we can move on to our retro roulette game because we could go on about this for hours and days and months. But I don't want to. I don't want it to be all bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to be all doom and gloom on this podcast because we played a pretty fun, energetic game in Pokemon Silver for the Game Boy Color and Game Boy. You could play this on Game Boy as well. And for those of you who have listened to the show at all, you know that Mark is not a Pokemon guy. He was too old and too cool to play Pokemon
Yeah,
when he was a kid.
more the too cool.
uh, I I was probably at the same point for this game. I played the shit out of Red and Blue, but for whatever reason, like I didn't touch another Pokemon game until let's see, Black and White. I think Black and White was the first time I like tried it again. And I never beat them, but I think like 3DS was like when I finally started picking up Pokemon again. But that's not to say that these games are bad. I just was it's like liking Power Rangers, like original Power Rangers, and then immediately not watching Zeo because because that came right after it, but you were just old enough to be like, nah, I'm good. I'm not watching Power Rangers anymore. I don't like what they did. But I want to hear, Mark, your initial
Yeah.
thoughts on Pokemon.
Yeah, so I played this game a lot today. I played it between episodes too, but I played a large chunk of it today, so it's fresh in my mind. The main thing about it is I see the loop, and I felt myself getting sucked into the loop. Of fighting things to level up your Pokemon, and then having them evolve, and trying to find new ones, and storing ones you don't use, and just that churn of doing all that, and then finding, fighting in the gyms, and going through the caves, and doing all that stuff. And I the collectathon stuff, the Pokedex is very can latch on to the OCD aspects of gaming sometimes. The only thing that bothers me with and I guess this is more of a thing of the because it was on the Game Boy and stuff like that. Um, I just can't get into my head or translate I understand certain weaknesses, but like knowing when to use what it's like I picked the fire Pokemon, obviously, because
I was gonna
fire is
ask
always
who you
cool.
started with,
Yeah,
and
so I picked the fire.
there's only really only one right answer.
I
You
picked the fire
you
one.
you pick Cyndaquil. You don't pick anything
Cyndaquil.
else.
Yes, I picked Cyndaquil. He's already evolved into Quinlava or whatever. Whatever. I haven't even tried to pronounce the name. And then you know, uh, I don't know. Like I picked up other Pokemon that have special things that work, and some work in situations when I don't understand why they work. I think there is definitely a chart out there because I did grab one for Scarlet and Violet, like what's weak
Oh,
to what.
yeah,
Um,
100%. There's so something that this game introduced or tried to fix was type moves, like what moves or what type.
yeah,
Because in like the in I want to say in like in Red and Blue, I think like Gust was just a normal type move, like
yeah,
for Pidgey. But
yeah,
I think in Silver, it's now a flying type move, which makes sense because only flying type Pokemon can use it. So
yeah.
I think they greatly enhanced that feature in this game and made it better.
Like I had that flower Pokemon from the beginning. I wish I memorized the names. That was just ripping through all the Earth elementals. I guess like
Yep,
just one-shotting Geodudes like crazy.
absolutely.
And I'm like, I don't know why this works, but apparently this thing that was getting its shit kicked in by everything else I was fighting is now just rocking these things that just look like they should be stronger.
Well,
And
Well,
yeah,
yeah. So I'll go through it real quick. Off the top of my head, rock and earth are weak to water and grass.
yeah,
Water is weak to electric and
obviously.
leaf. Electric is weak to rock. And there's one and something else. Rock and ground type. Fire is weak
Water.
to water. I don't think there's anything else that's weak to. Oh, fire is weak to rock as well. And what did I miss?
Bug type? Is there bug type
Bug
in
bug type is weird. Bug type is weak to fire. I don't remember if
I don't
fairy
know.
is in
Yeah, I'm
silver.
about 6 to 7 hours in. I just got to Azalea or right? Is that Azalea?
Okay, fairy type didn't come into way later. So bug is also weird because think it's one of the only things that Psychic is weak to.
Okay.
Psychic's another weird one. Like in the first game, Psychic was broken. Psychic was not weak to anything. Psychic was supposed to be weak to Ghost type and I think Bugs, but it wasn't weak to anything. So they fixed that in Silver and
Okay.
Gold. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they fixed throughout the generations, and I'm glad they did. You played you played Fire Red and Leaf Green, or forget if we played that. I'm
We played
interested.
Leaf Green.
Were you able to remember enough of that to compare the two?
Yeah. I feel more like coming back to this game than I did Leaf Green.
Okay.
I don't know if that means anything. It could have also been the time we played it. I might have had other things. But like I said, I spent most of my afternoon, after coming back from the Mario movie, and doing chores. I sat down and I played this most of the afternoon. And got pretty decently far. Like I said, I beat one gym. I'm about to go fight another gym. And I have an egg in my inventory.
Yep.
That hasn't hatched yet. I don't know if I have to do anything special or just walk around with
Nope.
it.
Just keep it with you.
My problem is I start getting favorites when I think you should spread around your Pokemon.
Nah, I mean, you get favorites like right off the bat. Like
Yeah.
the
I,
only the only thing I'll say is like you should probably have one of each type or close to
Yeah, so
each type.
right now I have my starter. I have a Geodude. I have that plant thing. I have a
Bellsprout?
Pidgey, Sprout.
Bellsprout?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Whatever the one that tower they all fight with in the Sprout Tower. So,
Yeah.
um and I have a Pidgey and I have that thing that has the poison needle thing that you get early. Forget the
Nidoran?
name. Yeah, and it evolved into something now. Um
Nidorino?
Something like that. Yeah. So it's like I think I have a good mix right now because I haven't had a hard time in many fights. Because I can even and I've learned the trick to leveling it up, which I don't even know is a trick or not, is that if you have a low level Pokemon and it's a fight you definitely know you'll win,
Stick in the
just
front?
make it the first one and then just switch it out as
Yes,
soon as the fight starts.
that is a common thing to do in
So
Pokemon is to
so
put your weak stuff in the front.
all of my Pokemon currently in my party are level 10 or higher at this point.
That's good.
So yeah, like I said, the sprout thing is just one shotting like everything that grass is weak to, or that grass is strong against.
Yeah.
And then
I do
I'll pull in my starter and then just have them shoot Ember, and because they're so much higher level than everything else, they just burn
yeah.
unless it's water. Water I hide that
So
Pokemon.
they you also get a bonus if you use if you have a fire type Pokemon and you use a fire type move, you
Yeah.
get a bonus on that also.
Yeah, I just
Like
got Gust for Pidgey.
yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I'm having fun with it. I might stick with it a little bit. I don't know if I'll play the whole game because I'm kind of just running around blindly at this point. I think I know where to go,
Yeah,
but
you can kind of run around blind. You're not missing
yeah,
much by doing that.
yeah, it hasn't felt like Scarlet where I was running around blindly and then ran into an area where I was getting my shit rocked in. No matter what. Like literally, like I had the weakness and the weakness did nothing, and then they would just one shot everything I had. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here yet. I think I had like a water against a fire, and I hit it with the water move, and it took like a quarter of its health, and then it would just hit me with its move, despite being fire on water.
Yeah, you were not in the right place, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But I
But the fun part was I was stubborn, and stayed there too long, leveled up my Pokemon in there, and then by the time I took them the right way, I was just train wrecking through everything because I was like 10 levels higher than I should have been.
yeah.
Um, just one shotting through gyms, through the first
Yep.
2, 3 gyms in Scarlet. Anyway, that was just fun anecdote from Scarlet. But yeah, I could feel the pull and understand it. It's one of those things where I understand it more now that I played it a bunch. The older games. I don't think it'll be a game that will go on to one of my I want to go back and play every single one of the older ones or anything like. But it's also something that is now not a blank spot in my gaming knowledge. I feel like I could beat these games. I mean, they are technically kids RPGs. In that it's simple mechanics for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had a good time with it. I think it's very well done. I'm playing it on the Game Boy Color. I don't know if there was a Game Boy version available.
It's
Um,
it's you can play the one cartridge on Game Boy Color and or Game Boy.
yeah.
It's one of
So I
those
look,
like
yeah,
it's one of those games that you can do both, like like the black cartridges, like
yeah,
Link's Awakening DX, and games like that. You can play them on either one,
yeah.
which is
So
nice.
I loaded it up on the Mister every time I played it on the big screen, which it takes up half the screen. That's it. Um,
You can set it to be like Super Game Boy size and blow it all the way up if you really want
that's
to.
fine. Yeah, but I've had a good time. I'm interested to see someone who's played and has better comparisons than I do about this.
Yeah, I mean, so what I noticed for like off the bat was how much easier this game is than Red and Blue. Like I remember like when I played Red, I feel like you had to grind so much for that first gym.
Yeah.
Um that it that was like the first 2 hours of the game was just getting ready for that first gym. In this game, I like got my Pokemon, fought a couple, uh just kept on my way. And then once I got in the gym, I was like, oh, I'll give this a shot. I have no idea what it is. And I just walked right through it. No problem. I beat everybody in there very easily. So I was like, all right, well, it's not that maybe it's just this gym. Went to the next gym, same thing. Walked right through it. Was not difficult. I don't know if it's just because I have played so many Pokemon games at this point, or if it's because that this game is that much easier. I don't know. I haven't gotten all the way to the end. So it could get worse when you get to like the Elite Four and all that other stuff. But I have not gotten that far. But uh I like it. I mean, the addition of all the new Pokemon is great, as much as it pains me to say that. Like, it's nice to have new stuff to play around with, but I do the same thing you do, Mark. I get favorites and I just go, nah, I'm not gonna use anything else, which it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's really I don't want to say it's not. I want to say it's kind of like a Pokemon DLC, but it's not. It just looks the same. I guess that's
Yeah.
part of it. It just looks like the first gen Pokemon, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It just didn't do I mean, there's only so much you can do with the Game Boy. It didn't go like until you get to GBA, Pokemon just looks the same. It doesn't look that all that different. You just get new Pokemon, which I guess is why they did that. They just added new Pokemon over and over and over instead of keeping it the same and keeping the same 151.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy this game. I'm sad I didn't play it when it came out. I should have. I don't know why. I guess I was just in that like I'm playing sports. I don't have enough time to play Pokemon anymore. Blah blah blah. Don't want to touch my Game Boy. That was the other thing. I never got a Game Boy Color. I never got anything past the OG Game Boy until no, that was it. I never even got a GBA. I didn't get anything new until the 3DS. That
Oh,
tells
okay.
you how long I did not have a handheld. My little brother had a GBA, but I never got anything until 3. And I bought the 3DS myself. So again, that tells you how long it would have been. I got the Game Boy as a gift, never got another game. But yeah, overall, really like the game. The music's great. I mean, it's Pokemon is arguably some of the best Game Boy chip tunes there is. Uh, and they did update the models that you'd see in battle, which is nice. They didn't just leave them the same. They weren't just super lazy and leave everything the same, but that was also good. The new Pokemon, I could take or leave some of them, but like the starters were good. This is one of the best set of starters, minus like Gen 1.
Yeah.
With because they still turned into stuff that looked like the original Pokemon. Once you got to like X and Y, and I mean, anything past like Sapphire and Ruby, they just went crazy. It was a little too much. Like, forget which one it was. I think it was X and Scarlet and Violet. No, what was it? Sword and
With Sword
Shield.
Shield. Yeah.
Your starter, I think if you chose like the rabbit looking Pokemon or whatever it was, it's would like kick a soccer ball at people. Like, what is just make it be an animal that shoots fire or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
need that. X and Y, your fire type Pokemon became like a wizard. Like, what? Why? Why do we have to do? Just make it a bigger version of that animal that's more fierce. Like, I don't need all this other malarkey. Yes, I'm old man yelling at a cloud. Anyway, like I said, it was more of a good thing,
Yeah.
and I think that is what you needed at that point. You didn't want to change the recipe too much yet, and they didn't. So I think they did the right thing. All right. I think I'm good there. I think
Yeah.
we should give this a score.
Yeah.
So Mark,
Yeah.
what do you give Pokemon Silver?
Yeah, so this is a tough one for me. Just because I'm floating between two numbers, and one in my head is think it should be, based on other people's feelings towards it and what I have felt so far. And I think I'm gonna lean towards more of my personal feeling on it. And I'm gonna land it at a 3.5.
Okay.
Um, because I feel like this is a 4, but I haven't played it or felt enough of it, to get me to say it's a 4.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see how good of a game it is. I can see the addictive nature of leveling up things and watching numbers go up of it. The story isn't anything to write home about so far. I guess once this egg hatches, maybe something will jump off. But you know, it feels like it is a good handheld game to just, as we were talking about earlier, when you're playing handheld stuff, sometimes it's just to pass the time on a road trip or, when someone else has control of the television, and this feels like very much a game that you get a lot of use out of situations like that. And the
Yep.
music's fantastic. That's probably the best part of the game for me.
Yep. I agree with you, and I am going to give it a 4 out of 5. I do think that uh it earned that extra 0.5 for me. Yeah, like I was saying, I love this game. I love that gen of Pokemon, and it's nice to get more of it. So I'm glad we played this, and I think that I will try to get. I'm going to try to do more older gen Pokemon, or even I want to play more Pokemon in general, just because I haven't really delved into it. Like I played Omega Sapphire and what is Mega Ruby? What was it? Mega Ruby and something Sapphire.
Yeah, I wouldn't
What
know.
was it? Alpha Sapphire. I played that game. So that was like the first GBA Sapphire and Ruby were the first GBA Pokemon games, but they did a re-release for 3DS. But yeah. Um Overall, great game. If you have not played it, highly recommend it. And you can, I mean, like we were saying, there's a million different ways to play Pokemon these days, and it doesn't have to be on NSO. Don't tell Nintendo. All right. All right. I think it's time to spin the wheel. Mark is going to be a happy boy this week. We got The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
I might know a little bit about this game.
I'm really surprised it's taken this long to get this game.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. We've played a million other stuff and we did not play this game yet.
Yeah,
So,
this is probably the only game that we have finished multiple times on stream
right,
because I
because
I
you
played
speed ran
retro
it.
I played randomizers. So we haven't
Right.
played the vanilla game on stream yet.
Okay.
Outside of
Yeah.
my speed runs for Master Sword, but that's not actually playing the
Right. But I'm going to play it and I'm
Yes.
going to suck. So, let's yeah, let's see how this goes. Like usual, I will be playing not yeah, the Monday after you hear this, I'll be playing A Link to the Past and Mark will be yelling at me telling me I'm
Yeah.
doing everything wrong.
Oh.
So, should be fun. Should be a lot of fun.
No,
Uh,
I feel like I'm going to be more quiet and let you walk in just for the reaction.
I would like some sort of heads up. I'm really interested to see what Jen has to say about this also because I think her first Zelda was Ocarina of Time. So, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear. So, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. We are still streaming like 4 or 5 times a week. You can find us on all our socials at Game Vault Pod, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, YouTube at Game Vault Pod. Like I said, you can find our streams at Game Vault Pod. Right now, we are doing Thursday through Monday, basically. Depending on if Mark wants to take hasty glances or not on Fridays. But it's usually Monday's usually Retro Roulette or Mark's Retro Roulette Endurance Run. Then Thursday is Final Fantasy VI right now. Will be Final Fantasy X once I finish that, hopefully in a week or so, maybe 2.
Yeah. So Fridays are temporarily trails until softball season's
that's right.
over.
Fridays temporarily trails until softball's over.
Yeah.
And then Sunday is the news hour. So
yeah,
come join us over there. Join us on our Discord as well.
Yeah. I made a fun joke about that as it gets warmer, I will have less and less energy after being out in the sun all day. So I'm just going to preemptively move it to Friday.
I think that's a great idea. And then we'll just like pop in whether we're doing the podcast prime or not.
Yeah.
So cool. So yes, come join us. Come let us know what you thought of Pokemon Silver, what you think of what's happening in the gaming world right now. Let me know if you emulate. What do you emulate on? I'd love to hear it. So once again, thank you. Jen should be back next episode. She had a lot of stuff going on because we, as parents, we always do. And for Mark, I'm Tom, and we will catch you guys in the next one.